Guys, buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHEAPSEATS, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CHEAPSEATS for $20 off.
That's CHEAPSEATS.
Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of View from the Cheap Seats, our look at the week in sports, aka the week in sports.
That's right.
Today we have on an old friend who is just a fantastic writer, Scot Armstrong, who had the Bear Down podcast. He's so deeply entrenched.
Deep in the NFL, deep into the Bears, and having a moment now, wondering if he can celebrate.
I'm so happy
The
to have him on
emergence
this
of
week.
Justin Fields.
They had such a good week last week, beating the Commanders in Washington, and it was so decisive. It was so decisive.
They finally got the Justin Fields they wanted.
And we'll find out what he...
But is that what they really want?
Is that what they really want? Did they want to tank this season so they could get Caleb Williams? Will they get Caleb Williams? Because I think they do have the first overall pick thanks to
the deal with Carolina.
So if Carolina is as bad as they are, then they get Carolina's first overall pick. So it kind of doesn't even matter what they do. You want them to be decent enough that then, like, do they take Caleb Williams? Who do they take? We'll sort of get into all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he is a lover, an absolute lover of NFL films, music, and we get into the composer Sam Spence, and his catalog. But first, top take. Are you watching the MLB playoffs, Jay?
A little. I mean, it's hard for me because for the first time, the Cardinals have not even been close.
Not even sniffed at last place. First time we were in last place in like a century.
It feels like me going to a party that I wasn't invited to.
Right.
That's me watching the games.
So you're like from the outside looking in the window and you feel like you're
to be here.
You're lurking.
Yeah, it doesn't feel entirely comfortable. And so I'm not.
So the difference is that, like, because we don't have an NFL team,
we just want good games. We want good series. So
That's kind
the
of where
four
I'm at.
sweeps, like right out of the gate, were just like a bummer. And now the Orioles swept. And you're like, what? That was the one team I cared about and wanted to see succeed, not just because of our buddy Mitch Scher, who produced our Okendo special, or Ryan Sickler, our long-suffering Orioles fans. I think you naturally, if you don't have a dog in the race, you go to start rooting for the longest-suffering fan base.
Right.
And the Orioles have not just been... It hasn't just been a minute before they won a World Series since 1983 and Cal Ripken, but it's been a while since they were even competitive.
So they've been to the playoffs twice in the last 25 years, in the last quarter of a century.
So this
is their fourth win.
And this is
their fourth winning season in 26 years.
So that and they had such a great winning season,
and they won
in such
in
a
like
tough division,
the hardest division in baseball.
And then they meet a buzzsaw in Texas, the Rangers, who swept and then swept. It just goes to show you, whoever's hot in the moment, you got pitchers that are hot in the moment and hitters that get hot.
Texas made all the right moves in the offseason and during the season to get Jordan Montgomery, to get some of these other pitchers and whatnot. They made all the right moves.
And technically, I think Texas has never won. No, they've never won. So you want to talk about a longer suffering fan base. How long has Texas been around, Aaron?
I think
is that 50 years?
Oh, yeah. They've been around since like the early 70s is when I think they probably expanded with Houston in like went from the Colt 45s, probably around 65 is what I'm assuming that Texas came into existence.
I'm going to find out. Aaron's checking on it.
1961.
61. All right. So same era, same range. So that's an organization that's been around for 62 years and they haven't won. And so, maybe we're not as enamored with that story, but it is an interesting story. And there was a moment in 2011 when they should have won.
Yeah.
When Josh Hamilton had him on the ropes, hits a home run.
You're one strike away, and David Freese hits the triple that ties the game, and then 2 innings later or 3 innings later, they go down in extra innings, they come back and tie it, and then of course,
why is Nelson Cruz in there for defense?
Right. Yeah, there's just
after he makes the same mistake in warm-ups that he does in the game. It's crazy. So Texas has sort of had a I don't know how you like it, not like a cursed vibe in this postseason.
But no
this
one ever
finally
really right, and no one ever really took them seriously because they were in the last several years in the same division as the Astros, which have just been a juggernaut. Cheating aside, they're just like they've sort of cleaned house and they still win all the time.
Right.
Like, was there any question that the Astros would be the team and not the Mariners that the team that would make it in the playoffs? So now it's like slowly trickling into a very boring,
right?
Because it's like the
Could be Texas. Dodgers are on the ropes.
Dodgers might be on the ropes. So here's my question, and this is what I wanted to pose as a top take. Who would you rather be right now? Who would you rather be?
Not be?
Or would you rather not be? A Dodgers fan or an Orioles fan? So the Orioles fan, long-suffering, 4 winning seasons in the last 26 years. Winning season. I'm talking about playoffs. Winning seasons in the last, and I don't think they've won a playoff series in the last 26 years. Maybe one. Okay, they maybe won one playoff series. So, or the Dodgers, who have for the last 10 years been amazing. They've been to 3 World Series. They won 1 in the COVID-shortened 60-game year with no fans. And so they have won a world championship, and they've been there, and they've basically won the division like 9 times. I mean, they've won it almost every single year, like 8 or 9 times in the last 10 years. Insane, really, for the career of Clayton Kershaw. And Kershaw was horrific the other night.
Awful.
Just terrible. Like
6 runs? 6 runs in
yeah,
one run?
reinforcing all of the narratives that he can't pitch in the postseason. But he does have a ring. But people are going to always throw an asterisk by it because they're like, it was the COVID-shortened year and you didn't really play in front of fans.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Last time he gave up 16 runs or 6 runs in an inning.
Cardinals.
2014 Cardinals, game 1.
That's
I was
right.
there.
I remember
Aaron,
it.
you were there.
I remember it. So I'm going to say it's worse to be a Dodgers fan.
Right.
Because the expectations of the Dodgers
given their payroll.
So it's more, even though you're getting to the postseason and having more successful years and enjoying it along the way, the disappointment, the annual disappointment that comes from this team and that has come from this team so many times.
Just in the postseason.
But the annual disappointment that comes with this team, to me, is amplified more than the disappointment of the Orioles. If you're an Orioles fan, you say, thank you for an amazing year. This has been an awesome ride. Am I disappointed? Hell yes. I'm very, very disappointed. But maybe we'll come back next year. This is a better year than we've ever had, and your excitement is high.
There is a nice young core and nucleus.
It's almost like the kids whose dad is never around, and then he's like home for the weekend to like take them to do a bunch of things, and then he leaves again. And you're like, all right, you came for the weekend and we really appreciate it. But the kids whose dad is always around, but then he has to leave for like a week for like us for like a business trip, and it's like
people are mad.
Everyone's like angry at you.
So yours, all right. But let me pose it to you this way, because the division the Orioles are in, like the Rays are good every year. No matter who they have, they're young, they're good. They're good every single year. The Rays are amazing.
The Yankees have the potential to be good.
Yankees were down this year, and the
Sox were down.
Sox were down this year, but you don't expect them to be down every year. Like, even if they're down next year, they're going to come back.
So the Orioles just have to essentially,
even the
Blue
Jays are good.
So the Orioles have to be second or third best, I think, as long as they're just a great team. Like, they just have to win 95 games.
They won 101 games this year, and so you're like, this season, I feel like it's difficult. Like, even at least Dodger fans, as we suffered through this season as Cardinals fans of being in last place, I didn't even really watch the games.
No.
It kind of made me apathetic towards my team, which is either right or wrong, but I just was like, why do I need this abuse on a regular basis? Like, the Dodgers are going to be good next year again. They have the players to be good in their division again next year. If you go out and see home games at Chavez Ravine, you're going to probably see a win.
Yeah.
They win a lot of games during the year. And so they give their fans a lot to cheer about on the reg, but they just haven't won. So are they like the Braves of the 90s, this Dodgers team?
I think they are.
Winning only once?
I think they are, and I think that, again, I would say it's worse to be a Dodgers fan because your expectations are higher from the jump, and it's harder to... I'll give an example. Here's an example. You talk about, like, if your kids want to get like good grades in school, they say if you take an honors class, if you get an A, that's a 5.0. 5.0. If you get a B, it's a 4.0. And in some cases, they say it's harder to get an A in a regular class than it is to get a B in an honors class. It's easier to get a B in an honors class. So that 4.0 is easier to get if you take the honors and you get an 80.
So the Orioles are in an honors division.
The Orioles are in an honors division, and if they get a B, a grade out as a B year, then their fan base is happy, and it's like a 4.0.
Right.
If the Dodgers don't get that A, that B is, they're in a regular class. That B is a 3.0. So, like, it hurts them if they don't have an A all the way
what's
through.
What's crazy, and we'll leave it on this, is that the Dodgers got punked by Arizona.
Yeah.
A team that, for a while, the Dodgers were
Didn't they lose like
Arizona
21
was
out of 25 games?
25 out of 32, I believe, Arizona lost.
Aaron, fact check us on
that. At a
that.
certain point in the season, 25 games out of 32, Arizona lost at around July. Okay.
Which, by the way, I've remembered times like that for the Cardinals, where they've gone through like huge stretches of like losing 19 out of 18.
25 out of 32. We kind of suffered through that this year with our team. 25 out of 32 is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's enough to
7
give up.
and 25 is enough to like give up, but they didn't give up.
And they got hot at the right time.
Their pitching is like electric, and they came in here and showed you that to do well in the postseason.
Who's their player? Carroll?
Yeah, all you got to do
love that.
All
Love
you got to
that
do
kid.
is get there.
Yeah.
And then if you get hot, everything's wiped clean. And the Dodgers stomped them this year. Just stomped them in the regular season.
So part of the problem with the Dodgers, and this is part of the problem with a team with a huge, huge, huge payroll, is that one of the things you have in your corner is depth to last a season. You got guys who can
get
move
injured.
around. The lineup doesn't
Dodgers have
change
had a
over
lot
a
of
long
injuries,
season. But like they still have great players behind the great players. All that stuff, and the depth factor can help you through a long season. Depth does not matter in the postseason.
No,
does not matter. What matters is two starting pitchers who are hot, and 3 or 4 bats that are hot.
That's right.
So your team could be wafer thin, just the starters. That's it. But if you got 3 bats that are hot and 2 pitchers that are almost unhittable and a closer who no one can hit, you can win in the postseason.
That's right. That's right.
You don't need a deep team, and the Dodgers are up against that every single year, and we're seeing it again. Are they down 2-0, Aaron? Is that where we are as we're recording this?
Yep.
They're down 2-0.
And they lost those 2 games in
LA. So now they got to go on the road, and they got to win 2 games if they want to
Which, by the way, they have the talent to do it, but when a team like Arizona is rolling, it's going to be exciting. So Braves, Phillies, whoever's going to come out of there is a team that's
probably going to come from the National League, you think.
But who knows? Maybe Arizona is that team. And then Texas, like a Texas-Arizona World Series would be the worst thing for MLB.
Yes.
It would be literally the worst thing, like, because just people don't care. Like the rest of the country, certainly the Northeast, nobody cares about like that region of the country. Texas.
It's almost better if the Astros make it and they can be the villain, and then whoever's on the other side, if it's the Phillies or if it's Atlanta, but Atlanta just won. So like
Atlanta just won.
So you're like, I don't know.
Philly would be the team that I think the Major League Baseball would want to be in it the most.
Yep.
Because you would generate sort of the hatred from the Northeast teams and maybe fans from there. They've sort of spread out a little bit too. So Philly's a big city. So I think Philly versus anyone on this side, who knows who that'll be. All right, there you go. Let's take a break. When we come back, Scot Armstrong's with us. We get into it. We bear down on everything, including the composer for the NFL film songs, Sam Spence. It is so much fun. What a great conversation. And then a little moment at the end we want to have with you guys. All right, we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As promised, we always give you what we promise.
I don't think we've ever in the first segment of a show said this gentleman's coming or this woman's coming on the show.
And then they don't show up.
And then we lie to you baldly to your face.
So he is here. He is with us. He is one of our favorite people in the world.
Improvisers, writers, comedy, golf partners. Just a lovely gentleman, Scott.
And knows his sports, Scot Armstrong. Welcome
Hey, guys.
to the show, dude.
Chicago's own.
Thanks for having me.
Dude,
Appreciate it.
It is a treat to have you here. You make us laugh even in moments when we're not feeling like we want to laugh. You bring it out in us, and I appreciate that. I've always done that for us.
Funerals.
Yes. Life.
Brisses.
When we're just
You've
sad.
always done it for us, and I'm just so happy. And you know your sports. Like the text chain, and we'll get into it. The text chain leading up to this. unlike any other guest that were like coming to our show, you sent us so much fun stuff.
I was procrastinating. I was supposed to be writing pages, and I was just like, you know what?
I'd rather do that.
Just text Sklars.
I'm so happy that you did. So people can know some of the things that you've done and you worked on. Didn't you ran the Dice Show?
Yep.
On Showtime.
Yes.
Which you know our Dice story. you fully know our Dice story, right?
I mean,
had you cast us in that show, there might have been a showdown. I'm just saying that.
Well, he's got a lot of enemies, so I don't even know if
I mean, he didn't. I mean, it was probably the most minor thing that he ever even thought of. But like, we were on stage at the.
We were coming on stage. We were young. This is like early 2000s. Coming on stage at the Comedy Store. Dice has been up for, he's like an hour and 15 minutes into his 15-minute set.
You know, just doing the thing that like sometimes people like, you know, Eddie Griffin would famously go on for like 3 hours at the Comedy Store.
What else do you have to say?
It's like the only person who's allowed to do that is Chappelle. You're like, if he comes on, like people are there. You can't just do 15 minutes if you're Chappelle.
Right.
Like I remember one night Chappelle was like, Neil Brennan's on stage and then Chappelle walks in the back hallway. We're next. And we're like,
and he started to head to the main room. Like, okay, get off, Neil, so we can get on.
And then we'll bring him up. I'd be so happy to bring him up. And then he comes up. Neil brings him on, and he comes up, and he does. And like 45 minutes into Chappelle, we're like, all right, we got to go. It's like getting late. I don't want to even stay. I feel bad for the people who are after us. I'm like, how about the next 4 people get off, and then we get it on track. And
it's a great problem to have because Chappelle's just killing
and so funny and just answering questions and smoking a cigarette. It's like a podcast with him and Neil.
Neil's on stage with him and he's just like
asking him questions.
Oh my God,
it's so great.
There was a moment where he's like, so what else? And we're like, we gotta get up there. And finally we're like, we're gonna go. We went up to the guy at the front. We're like, we're taking off. We're gonna take one. There's no need to push this longer and farther. And as we were like walking back to go to the parking lot, he's like, well, I'm done. Who's next? And we're like, the Sklar brothers. And then Chappelle gives us like the nicest intro, kindest,
that's great,
sweetest, best, most respectful, and tells everyone, stay in the goddamn room. You're gonna love these guys. It was so nice.
And then we get up and we're like, this is why the Comedy Store is great. You got people like us who've been doing it for a long time, and open micers like that guy right before us who hasn't really done it before. Great. And Dave laughed.
Dave, I don't want to say you were on stage for a long period of time, but 3 new iPhones came out during.
So that's how it's supposed to go between you. But
fun, roasty, in an enjoyable way.
Right.
The Dice thing was that we were on stage. I mean, we're like, when is this guy going to get off? Is he ever going to get off?
Of course, he doesn't remember who he's supposed to introduce, because at the Comedy Store, it's tag team. You got to bring up the next comic. There's no host. So whoever's in front of you brings you out. Like Arsenio once.
Unless your name rhymes with cunt, he can't remember it.
So he says,
who's next? And the other guy's like Sklar Brothers, the guy at the piano.
And at this point, it's like we've been doing comedy for at least 10 years.
And done some half-hour specials and been out.
It's not like we haven't done anything. And he's like, who? And they're like, the Sklar Brothers.
It's like, well, I never heard of them, so you know they're going to fucking suck. We're like, did he get our credits right? Are we?
And then so then we get on stage, and it's like a mess in there. It's so upsetting. And then he comes back on stage.
While we're on stage, grabs my microphone. It's like, no, I got their opening line for you. They're going to be like, dice open for me. Dice open for me. Well, I got news for yous. If I did my old shit, they wouldn't be able to fucking stand on this stage. Which he might be right. They'd be able to fucking stand on this stage. You're lucky I did all my new shit. And then he dropped the microphone and the cord fell out of it. And we're like, is this broken now? Like, what's happening?
It was so
upsetting. So rude, not cool. And so like we then wrote a bit about it and did it on Comedy Central. Like did a bit about him like not do, he's like, I did do my old stuff. We're like, didn't you do a chunk about call waiting? Like is that new? Are you just getting around to your call waiting? And then so the bit became like that his life had turned in such a way that like he's no longer doing the nursery rhymes. He's not
doing punchlines at the end.
He's just doing the setups and then revealing sad truths about his life.
Well, he's like, it's like he's lucky that you guys are like just avoiding the punchline. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh my God.
Yeah, we did it. So we were like, I took a job on a cruise ship. I needed the money.
Like actual things.
Yeah, Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water, and it's been 3 years since I had a meaningful conversation with my daughter. Oh!
Well, that's kind of like
he doesn't have a daughter.
That's kind of what the show's about.
I agree, and I thought the show did a good job.
Just showing him because he was kind of like a professional gambler at some point.
So
so
the
truth of the matter is
if I saw him. So this is what I would say, and this is what I will say about your show, and then also the things that he appeared in. I'm like, he's a great actor.
Amazing.
Amazing. I think he's actually good. He was good in A Star Is Born. He's good in other things he's done. I'm like, look, man, I have respect for what you've done.
I have love for what you've done.
What you've done and what you've become. You, in a moment, tried to bully us on stage in a way that we weren't like privy to or cool with. And so we, in turn, hammered the fuck out of you afterwards. Like, we will never start a fight, but we will finish it. And we will finish it forever.
Relentless.
With so much vitriol that you will, so much so that like later he was in a green room in Nashville, and he saw Jonah Ray, our buddy, our dear friend Jonah Ray, and he was like,
why do the Sklars not like me?
Well, let me ask you something. Why don't they like me? He's like, I don't know. Maybe you were an asshole to them. I mean,
I wish it was a weird story. Like he's got every comic's got stories about him fucking with them.
I know, and by the way, that's his fine if that's his thing. But you don't know us.
Yeah.
You don't know us.
It is like in his mind. I'm not defending it, but in his mind, he's just going nuts from the minute he walks into the place.
Right. And he's just that character.
He's going like all full tilt.
He's that character all the way through.
Which, by the way, we probably shouldn't have taken it so personally. But it was
it's completely wrong.
We
but
were
it's like,
young. But it was.
I'm just telling you where he's coming from. It's just he doesn't even. He's like,
again, if I saw him, I'd be like, dude, I loved you in this and this and this. I'd be like so nice to him.
And if he was mad about what we did, we'd be like, why? What are you doing,
man? It's just busting your balls. So you worked on that. That's not the only thing. And The Hangover and all, so many great things. But I want to talk. You're here and you know sports, which is just so wonderful and sweet to be able to.
I want to get into the mindset of a Chicago Bears fan,
because you were ready to abandon them completely, and then they have this game this past weekend.
Yeah, it's like, do we want them to start winning again?
That's the question.
Yeah, let's get into your head and talk to me right now. What were you thinking? Were you mad as like the Justin Fields starts running it up on these bitches?
You know what? I actually genuinely love the team. Like, I really feel like they're like good football players and good people. Like the Bears are like kind of like lovable, even though they were playing like shit. So I always I was so happy to see
them actually.
Justin Fields shows up at like 5 a.m, first one in the building every single time, ahead of like everyone who's famous, in the dark, parks his car, stays the late, like
parks other people's cars.
He parks other people's cars. He's valeting until Poles gets there. Make sure Poles is set. Make sure Poles' car is at 82 degrees.
Poles, I'm like, are you the general manager of the entire team, or did you coach Navy? I'm like, I don't know who you are. He's so young, and he's like, it's fascinating.
It's easy to like the Bears.
Smart. I'm one of the few people. I think Poles is actually.
I like Poles too.
So
I think he's like very honest when he speaks to the media.
Can I say what I think the Bears are missing a little bit, and only from the fact that I've always was a little bit of a Lions fan, and then really became a Lions fan when they picked Aiden Hutchinson. And part of my reasoning of that guy, because he's Michigan. I mean, that's 2 years ago.
I mean, the truth is, like, we don't have a team. We were the St. Louis Cardinals growing up. And so, like...
Then they went to Arizona, and we hated the ownership, and we said, we're done with them.
Well, but this is the thing.
That's why you root for Canadian teams now.
That's
Only
right.
Canadians.
The Juggernauts or whatever.
The Argonauts.
And the Juggernauts.
The Juggernauts are actually...
And the Judds. Ashley and Winona and Judd.
The Juggernauts are the cheerleaders for the Argonauts. So, no, but that we just... Here's the truth is, like, if your team loses and it doesn't ruin your weekend, then you're not a fan. So like so every time like Arizona lost and it didn't feel like anything, we're like, oh, we're not fans of this team anymore. Also, they were 5-11 and 4-12 and 6-10 every single year that we had season tickets from them.
Tough.
So that we were like the current Bears and last year's Bear. That's what we as Cardinals fans lived with through our entire youth. So never really had anything to like love or root for or whatnot. So we don't really have a team. So Jay kind of adopted the Lions. I love them too.
But I really started following them. I think it was last year, right?
Yeah.
Last year was their first year. And
you can't do this.
Yes, I can.
You can't just start rooting for the Lions, can you?
Yeah, well, so we went
Isn't
to
the
Michigan.
NFL rooted in
No, we went to Michigan, and we were always aware of
I
and
actually enjoy the NFL so much more because I don't have a team that's like weighing me down and making me upset.
Like so bad. You're blowing my mind.
Okay, but listen, I said all through all the. I mean, there's not a more hapless organization than the Lions. You know, they're in your division.
Yeah, if you could pick any team to go with the Lions, is
My basketball team, the Clippers, from 25 years ago. So you know I'm in like a
lovable loser,
a death spiral. Like that's
well, it
all.
means so much when they pull it off. If they play a playoff game, it's such a big deal because
huge.
So the Lions,
Even last year's win against
the Packers when it didn't matter for the Lions at the end of the season, they didn't have to win that
I was
game.
rooting for him that game.
Of course, and so they didn't have
be 9-8.
So I think the Bears need a guy. I don't know where he is on that team. It doesn't matter where he is on that team. They need a guy who's going to, in his very nature, change the culture. And I think they thought Justin Fields was going to be that guy, but I don't know that he's that guy. And I don't know who it is.
It's usually a guy on defense. If you can get like a
Well, they've signed all these new linebackers that are supposed to be like monsters. You know what I mean? Like Edmonds, Edwards,
all the
Sanborn is like he was an undrafted free agent from last year that is like playing out of his mind. But everyone's so mad they traded Roquan.
Yes.
And
why did they do that?
Well, a lot of people criticize him, but Roquan didn't want to sign. Either, you know what I mean? Like they offered him a really, really sweet deal, I guess. So I don't know. He wanted just a little more. You know what I mean? And he wanted to be the top of the market. And
you're
whatever.
like, bro, come on. But he was really good. And
he's the best.
He was. Wait, what about Khalil Mack? Is he like?
He just had 6 sacks or something. Like Bears get rid of him, 6 sacks. Like.
He was the guy that was good. And by the way, he is a guy
had more fun than watching Mac.
He is a guy that could change the narrative for you guys. In that way,
he did. They that double doink was like that moment was like that was a real opportunity.
I mean, the great thing is though that with Rodgers now out of.
Oh my God! It's
wide open. It's wide open in the best possible way. So you do have hope. Like the Lions have hope. The Lions are like, we could potentially win this division this year, and we'll be good for a little while. And it's
like the Lions versus like the Vikings, the Juggernauts, the Bears, all the worst teams ever. Like they could own that division.
They could own that division, but it's nice to see that division wide open again. You know what I mean? Just because it had been one thing for so long. If you were a Bears fan and you're like, oh, we got to play, or the Packers are coming here to play us in the final game, you're like, we know how this is going to go.
Yeah,
we're not going to win, and it sucks that we're not going to win.
It's pretty wide open now. The other thing I was going to say is the Bears have the first overall pick as of now because they had a trade with Carolina Panthers. So the Bears winning is good for me because I'm like win and we still get the first round.
Can I tell you who they should take?
I know who you're going to say.
Tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah,
not first overall.
I don't care. Fine,
trade back and do it, man.
What do you want to get? Like a line? You're definitely going to get like an offensive lineman.
We're definitely going to get Caleb Williams. I hate to say it. I mean, that's the controversy. Is believe me, I want Fields to be the guy, and I love Fields. But
Caleb Williams is
we don't know yet.
Passer.
We don't know yet. But Fields has the rest of the season to play. But the goal is to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Who's going to win a Super Bowl? Who's more likely to win a Super Bowl? Caleb Williams or Justin Fields?
I think Caleb Williams has the potential.
So
you have to figure it out.
If you get Caleb Williams, I think Brock Bowers is the best player in college football right now.
He is.
I think he's better than Caleb Williams. I think he's more dominant, and I think he's the kind of guy that can change a team.
Better thighs.
Better
midsection. Squat rack.
Let's get into the calm old squat rack.
Yeah. The RAS score, like the athletic whatever.
No, but I think that guy is take the best
Wonderlic.
Take the best tight end in the league right now. Is it Travis Kelce? Maybe, but
which pop star is he going to date? So if Kelce is dating Taylor Swift,
that's right.
Bowers, we need an up and coming pop star.
I said Dua Lipa or Ice Spice.
Dua Lipa, okay.
Ice Spice. Can we call her Pumpkin Spice this time of the year?
In this part of the year, her hair is orange,
and give her like
Does she get free coffee at Starbucks?
She just give her a seasonal spice.
Why is it?
She's doing commercials with Ben Affleck.
Why is it that rich people get shit given to them?
So she
should have to pay.
She's doing commercials with Ben Affleck where Ben Affleck is playing kind of a director of her life, and he's doing like an old gruff New York. I'm like, you're from Boston, aren't you? Like, why are you doing in New York?
Dude, he's versatile. He can do anywhere on the East Coast.
I kind of like, I don't like when he did the commercial where he came in and they wrote on his thing that it was Matt Damon. I'm like, all right, well, he's having fun about it. This doesn't feel like he's having fun with himself.
He should do a commercial there where he walks in and he's like, guys, marriage is hard. I'm like, wow, don't say that out loud.
He said it in the commercial.
He did?
No. Remember, he said it on the Oscars.
I'm lost. I haven't seen this one.
Ben Affleck at the Oscars. Did he not?
And
say,
then he did a Dunkin' commercial where he walked in
That
and was
I've
feeling
seen,
good. And
yeah.
so now he's doing a bunch of Dunkin' commercials with Ice Spice where he's trying to direct how she becomes a part of this thing.
Sometimes like commercials are like they assume everyone knows what's going on, like, and they're cutting it so fast. It's like you have 30 seconds. Like you're supposed, you know, this star, and they have a relationship, and they're like, it's like, what's the backstory of this Dunkin' commercial? What's happening?
Ben Affleck is now managing Ice Spice.
I know. You're just like, what is happening?
By the way, and that commercial comes on like 100 times during every football game.
Fast forward. I never watched anything like
So
that. I'm always 30 seconds, 30 minutes behind.
I think the NFL. We're in a pick'em league, and so like that tells you how tough, how much parity there is in the NFL.
If you're having a hard time doing just a straight up pick 'em, no points, nothing, just pick the winners.
Pick who's going to win?
Yeah, pick who's going to win every week.
I'm in that league too. I'm in a league similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we in the same one?
Is it the Saratiana League, the Saratiana Pick'em League, or no?
You go through Dubai and Monaco.
No. Are you sending money to an offshore?
It's like Bahama. I'm just money laundering is what I'm doing.
Wait, do you send all of your picks to the Cayman Islands? Who are the guys who sing "Who Let the Dogs Out"? the Baha Men.
The Baha Men. We're in their league.
The Baha.
Each one of them has a team. No, so you pick straight up pick, and if you're every week having trouble with them, I'm going to look at the matchups. I'm going to go through the matchups.
It's tight.
But I think that's a good thing. The only teams that are kind of really having trouble right now are the Panthers and the Bears.
I hope the Panthers keep losing. I'm in a fantasy league with Walsh, Riggle, Shear.
Weren't we in a league and I won?
Pally. Oh, yeah.
I won. All right, so Kansas City, Denver, obviously that's Kansas City. Baltimore Titans. It's at Tennessee.
I always think Baltimore is going to. I
do think they too, but they keep losing. So this is
I think they're going to get. I think the Baltimore is going to get right.
Dolphins, Carolina. That's easy. But Jaguars, Colts.
Is like
what's the call? Jonathan Taylor's now back.
The Colts are good. The Colts, I bet against the Colts every week, and they rip my heart.
I think the Colts are going to support Jonathan Taylor. I think they're going to feel it in the locker room that he got paid and want to see him have a big day.
Also back for that team, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, he came back from Seagate.
He played
Farscape, Seascape. What were those?
Farscape, Seagate. All right, I'll go straight at you.
Those are like all shows from the
Bears, Vikings. Your heart is saying Bears. You're coming off a high.
Can you build off that Washington win? And that's
I think the Bears are going to go on a little streak. They're going to stack some wins here. They got weak opponents. The
no
offense
Jefferson.
is clicking.
No Jefferson. I don't think
Jefferson.
For the Vikings. So
I would definitely put.
All right, here's one where I have no clue. Texans Saints.
Saints.
Who?
The Texans for a long.
I keep betting on Stroud. I think he's going to keep getting better and better.
I bought into the
offensive
Texans.
line's playing good.
I bought into the Texans hype, and then
I played Nico Collins, my guy from Michigan. After I didn't play him, and he had 35 points. Then he has 6 points.
I think.
Are they playing at home? Stroud?
Yes, it's Stroud at home.
Okay, then I would take Stroud because playing in New Orleans. Have you been to that stadium?
No.
It is literally you can't hear yourself. Everyone says it's loud. You're like, yeah, I bet it's loud, but you're like there.
So fun.
It is so loud. Like when the camera shakes. It feels like that when you're at the game. Like your whole body's shaking from noise.
That's actually
Browns 49ers.
49ers I think is the best team we've seen.
So it's
I
easy
picked them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the
season.
Right,
but it's the NFL, so every team's going to have a trip-up week. Is this the week? If you're in a pick'em league, you want to pick the against the grain, so you get the pick that no one else has. Can the Browns? It's in Cleveland. Are the Niners due for one trip up? The Browns aren't.
The Niners are just
all right.
I think Brock Purdy's underrated still.
So I love him. I think he has roommates. He has a roommate.
He will forever.
He's like, I live with this guy. I'm like, what?
Irrelevant.
He works at CVS.
So weird.
He gave me the vaccine. He gave Travis Kelce.
All right, here's a tough one. Seahawks at Bengals. Bengals surging right now.
Bengals surging. Seahawks are great too.
Where's it at?
It's at Cincinnati, I'm assuming.
So the Seahawks are 3-1. Bengals are 2-3.
And the Bengals.
But the Bengals are the best 2-3. They're the best 2-3 team.
They were 0-3.
Yeah.
What they do last week? They got in
They
rhythm.
won,
But they
yeah.
got in rhythm. They look.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like
Burrow to Jamar Chase. I mean, all these unbelievable plays.
Okay.
So
I don't know. It's a coin toss.
Again, it's
because
like-
Seattle's playing good.
they are
right. So-
and Kenneth Walker the third is
The
playing
next
great.
one I couldn't even tell you. Washington Atlanta.
Falcons. Who?
Falcons are 3-2.
That's like saying, do you want vanilla or vanilla bean? What do you want? What ice cream do you want? It's the same goddamn thing.
what kind of toppings do we have?
Falcons. I think Falcons are going to win that game.
Falcons? All
Falcons are
right.
playing good.
How about this? Raiders versus Patriots.
Patriots are a complete
Patriots
dumpster.
Bet
at
against
the
the
Raiders.
Patriots. Bet against the Patriots.
All right, so we take Raiders.
Yeah.
Cardinals versus the Rams. Now, 1-4 versus 2-3. I think the Rams are starting to put some things together.
Yeah, the Rams are better. The Rams.
So, all right, Rams.
Yeah, the Rams.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, Rams have no injuries yet. They're all like old players.
Lions, Bucks.
Lions, Bucks.
I just
4-1 team, 3-1 team.
I just picked up what's his face, Baker Mayfield. Picked him up in my thing. I'm like, this guy's playing great this year.
See, the Bears played even with the Buccaneers, and everyone assumed that the Buccaneers were bad, and so the Bears, it must have been a terrible game. But now the Bucks are proving to be good.
Yes,
it makes
So
me
now
think
maybe the Bears are better.
Yeah, okay.
I think the Lions.
Lions,
Lions,
that's
too.
all right. Eagles, Jets, you got to go Eagles.
Eagles all the
It's
way.
not even close.
Giants, Bills.
Giants.
I'm starting to feel bad for Zach.
Zach Smith.
Taylor.
Zach Taylor.
Or Zach
Wilson.
Smith. Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. I feel. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
mean, he's just
Like he literally,
like
it's just like a puppy
watching-
that's like.
So
getting
this is
like-
how bad
watching-
Zach Wilson is. I have Garrett Wilson on my fantasy team. I literally can't play him because I'm like there's no delivery service to get. Like you, it's almost like saying you live out in the country and you don't have good internet.
or you don't have a car. It's like, how are you going to get here? You're going to Uber here every single time? No.
That's Zach Wilson's nickname, like no internet. Like you can't get the
No
you
Wi-Fi?
can't
What's up?
connect-
No Wi-Fi.
Watching Zach Wilson muddle through this season and try and complete passes is like watching Jennifer Aniston try and get married.
You're like,
I
I want it
there's
to
so
happen
much
for her.
pressure on it to happen, and you're just like,
Jennifer Aniston.
I-
If we can take a moment on a sports podcast and just speak directly to Jennifer Aniston.
she is so cute.
Let me tell you something.
She's beautiful.
You're into the
Successful.
wrong guys. You need to be into a funny dude who's just
Beautiful,
fun.
successful.
Stop getting into like hot guys who are going to disrespect you. Don't do that. You don't need that. You need a funny, smart person who's going to make you happy. Because in 10 years, we're all going to look like shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have dated Brad Pitt if I were her, though.
Yeah, I get that.
He is amazing.
I get
and
that, but it
should
didn't
have
work
happened,
out, and
but,
it
like,
didn't work out. So that's the end of it. You had a good run. You had a good run with him, and you don't have to deal with all his freaking kids.
And she's calling into the show, right?
She will
is
be calling in later in
She'll
the
be
show.
calling a little later.
Along with Sam Spence, writer of all the old NFL films music.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Chargers, Cowboys, here in LA at SoFi.
I mean, I think you got
Cowboys.
Cowboys bounce back and beat them. I mean, it's just, but
Cowboys are too good to not play good
but
football.
there is a question in your mind. So the point is,
I think
Jay
they
just ran
have
through
a
that whole
weird,
thing.
weird personality.
Look, we never
and down.
said we would be the guys who are like, let's go to the NFC East. We're not those guys. We just ran.
But the point of running down that is to say that there are a lot of question marks in a time where we did this league last year or a couple years ago, and I was like, it was way easier to pick every week.
and,
just
and you
kinda
would
knew.
lose.
but we still lost money.
Yeah, we'd
Never
lose.
won.
No,
Never
because
won.
there's always one person who gets like 13 right. You're like, what do you do? How
but
do you-
they just pick the right upsets. But I mean, the truth is, it is real. The parody is amazing, and it's why I kind of love watching the NFL right now, and I can actually enjoy watching the NFL because I'm like,
And it is a reason why a team like the Bears. Also, you can have 4 or 5 losses and still make the playoffs. You can have 6 losses.
like I don't know if I trust Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Every time I see him walking around, and every time I see him
He
walking
will
around,
never not win. It doesn't matter if his
he's
legs
such a
ripped
winner.
off
I know
by
he's
an
such a
alligator.
winner. He's such a
gonna
winner.
win.
He's such a winner. The dude is like an incredible winner, and he's great.
Did you watch that quarterback show?
No, I have
it's
to.
really
yeah.
fun. It's
Do you just
interesting. It's just gets you into the mindset of how fast those guys have to think on the field and
Oh
what
my
their life
God.
is like and how much pain they're in after they get hit all day.
I mean,
it's really wild.
The fact that those guys just pop up after those hits is insane. It's
yeah,
just
there's some
insane.
good footage of the Vikings dude. What's his face?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, where he's getting hit, and you just hear him just like, oh, like he's just like 330-pound guy running like a 4-4 into your back,
into your back and then landing on you with all of his weight. weight. And you're like, you can't do that.
There's
shit.
no way you can be prepared for that. I mean, I think
Like there's no amount of yoga you can do to be like it's gonna be fine.
Pilates. Right. Is Daniel Jones continuing to grow as a person? I think he is, not as a quarterback, but like every time I see him, I think he's an inch taller.
Yeah,
I'm
he's just like,
are you
he's wearing
6'8"
lifts.
now?
He's wearing lifts in his
He's wearing
cleats.
Tom Cruise's lifts.
6'8".
That's so weird that he would do that.
I think Aniston and Jones maybe.
Aniston and Jones?
Yeah.
Mr. Jones and me? I mean, she did date, what's his face from Counting Crows.
Oh, she did. No, that was Courtney Cox.
Aniston dated him.
I think Courtney Cox dated Aaron.
They both did. He got them both.
Adam Duritz got them both.
Duritz got them both.
That guy is like, he's punching above his weight class.
Unbelievable.
And he has a high weight class.
And that's like, you really like, yeah,
he's punching.
That's from heavy to heavier.
It's from heavy to super heavy.
He's hitting the heavy bag, as they say.
He's doing some work, putting work in.
That's what Aniston used to say when she was having sex with him. I'm hitting the heavy bag. No, but that guy and that world, yes.
She's like, I dated Brad Pitt. I dated this huge fat guy. I dated like everybody.
She's done
it's
the
been a
range.
long December, is what she said.
That's right. And there's reason to believe that I shouldn't be doing this anymore. But I'm just saying it is very exciting. Are you a big NBA guy or no? Are you?
Yeah. I feel like I know like almost everything about the NFL, but I like the NBA, but I don't know everything. You know what I mean?
Do you in the off season for the NFL? Are you reading blogs and listening to things?
Yeah.
Listening to like Bears
I really
podcasts?
am like I know like too much about the NFL. You know, that doesn't mean it translates into wins with my betting, but I do. I don't know. It's just like my main hobby. It's been that way since I was like a little kid.
So
Followed
did you
everything.
season tickets to the Bears or no?
No, but my dad took me every year.
To
But
a game.
He did the opposite. Every year we'd go to one game in September around my birthday, and then he would always.
great.
But he would always scalp. Like that's the thing. He was
So
just
you'd
like
show up and it was
scalp.
like, what are we gonna?
Yeah, that was like
where we're
that was
gonna
our
go.
thing. He was like a commodities trader, so everything was like some deal that he would get. Like it's it's like
I talked
supply and demand. Demand's lower right at the stadium, and supply is.
We wait till the game starts.
Yeah,
Wait
yeah,
till we buy our
exactly.
ticket.
Yeah.
Nothing happens in the
And
first.
then don't
minute.
get comfortable. We're moving down by the third quarter. Okay, all right.
Wait till Willie Galt gets hurt, then we can get lower.
world class.
Wait till. I always love the world class speed because like the guy who comes in last
As a harness racer.
Yeah.
the
He
guy
was a harness racer.
he saw
was.
people pulling back on the reins with him.
Yeah.
Willie Galt.
And a ballet dancer.
He was he really a harness racer?
He was a harness racer and a ballet dancer. I'm not even doing a bit.
Willie Galt.
Willie Galt. And an Olympic sprinter.
And he called Superdog Super
He
Jocks,
co-hosted
which we did
our show
with
that we-
Barry Tompkins. Not
Oh,
our
okay.
show, but
But
we
one-
did cheap seats on Superdog Super Jocks, and Willie Galt was there, and he wore his Super Bowl ring to co-host. I was like,
All right, man.
nice flex on Barry Tompkins.
What's Barry?
I'd
gonna
wear it. I would never take that thing off.
Oh my God,
So
that would
fun.
be. I
How
would,
sad is it when guys
I'd
have
point
to
with
sell
that
it?
finger. I'd point with that finger.
I'd be at the Best Western jacuzzi wearing that thing, just chilling out.
Does
in the
anyone?
spa.
Do you want me to press the button on the?
Let me ask: does anyone else at the Holodome have a?
Want me to press the button on?
I don't want to play bumper pool.
And you just leave that finger out on the bridge.
I would. I would wear it.
That is amazing.
Who's your favorite bear of all time?
I mean, I have to say Peyton, but Butkus is right there because I went and saw Peyton play all those games. I was there when he like broke the record. I love Peyton, was my hero, but Butkus is my favorite. Like his style of play was the greatest.
So you were
the
born in
meanest.
70.
Meanest.
Butkus ended his career in like when? Like
73, 74. But his lore, like it was just still like the reverberations of his career were still like
Into the
I
80s.
can't believe he lived to be 80. Okay? Like I'm like amazed with the amount of
punishment.
he never broke. Did he ever break? Was it 2 broken collarbones? No, I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean,
like he
he
just
probably
that was
still
so
played.
tough. You know, I played high school football, and we were like randomly. I didn't start, but we were going to the state championship.
Yeah.
It was like a huge deal in Illinois. When I
What
was-
school?
Wheaton North.
Okay.
And it's so ridiculous to talk about now, but he called.
Glory days.
But we had this like thing that was like. You need to we'd watch film and decide who had a Butkus hit, quote unquote. Like whoever hit as hard as Butkus.
Butkus.
And the goal was like our coaches were like, if we get 30 Butkus hits in a game, we're
amazing.
guaranteed to win. Like if you count
that was the calculation.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with skill players or like running. It was just like if we hit hard enough, we're gonna win.
That's like turnovers or sudden change plays.
Yeah,
if we get 30 Butkusses,
that's your Butkus hit bucket
Index.
list.
And you got into the Butkus club, so to whatever we called it. And Butkus called us before the state championship.
No.
Yeah, and we were so literally
What'd he say?
we were almost like in tears. We were so psyched, and he was like,
Were you all gathered around like a phone, or was there a speaker phone?
Well, the funniest thing was watching my old coach try and hook up a phone to a speaker right before like we're stressed about this. We're stressed about playing in the state championship, and we're watching. He's trying to make it a surprise, so we're like, we don't know why he's panicking about the speaker and the phone, and it's taking us all out of the game.
Visual.
Yeah, we're like, what the? I don't know,
Coach. What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Just hang on a second. I gotta.
We're like, is the game canceled? Is there a hurricane? Like, what is this?
Are you getting us online with the National Weather Service?
It's an Amber Alert. What is happening? But it was Butkus, and he gave us a big pep talk. It was awesome.
God.
He used like our names and stuff. Like
no way.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing. Yeah. So was that your only interaction with him in life, or did you ever interact with him any other time?
No, but I do own a lot of like Butkus memorabilia.
Amazing.
That's now gone up in value.
Of course.
I mean, that was my main thing. I was waiting for
Butkus
it
to
just
die.
doubles in value. Which,
thank God.
But I have all this stuff. I actually do. Like, it's so funny.
So Dick Butkus is literally the most homoerotic name ever. When you break it down, how are there not multiple drag queens?
His name Dick
Butkus,
but it's female drag queens who are dressed in men.
It might as well be like Phil Buttlicker or something.
Yes.
Like that.
So Jay and I did a thing with it. We actually
did a commercial.
Oh, you did? Okay.
A series of commercials.
Comcast
cable commercials out in Denver. I don't even know when this was.
Oh, I'm more of a fan of him as an actor than a football player. I'm talking all about his sitcom work.
Yeah, he was great.
Now,
he was great.
So we sitcom memorabilia.
Him and Alex Karras. We have a whole treasure trove of Alex Karras stuff from Webster. But so we did this thing with him, and we had to ride in a car with Dick Butkus.
Oh, fun.
From the Denver airport to where we were shooting at a studio that the Denver airport is so far away from everything. You're like, what are they doing? They're definitely cloning people underneath the ground here.
They are.
So why are we so far away?
Justin Bieber.
So much stuff. So
clone Dick Butkus, please.
Clone Dick Butkus. We need more of them. And so we ride out with him, and within 5 minutes?
5 minutes, he is talking about how the NFL has screwed him, and we're like,
I can't believe we're hearing. I was like, this is on the tip of your tongue at all times. You want to tell anyone?
I agree, but I mean, they really should pay the old players more money. It's crazy. It's not that expensive to set them all up with a sweet condo and healthcare.
Sweet condo and healthcare, or just, hey, Roger Goodell, you made $44 million last year.
Yeah.
Why don't you make just this?
I mean, now we're into the strike shit. Now we're into the exact same thing. It's like, you're the CEO of this company. How about you take 30 million instead of 40. You think you can squeeze by on 30 million, and then let's set up a fund for these guys so that they don't have to pay for
$14 million. You be that guy, then be the hero. Walk around
take a victory lap, and everyone will kiss your ass, and you can still go to Monaco, and you can still do all the shit you want to do. You can have your yacht, you can do all your stuff. Just help these old guys.
What size yacht? Is he allowed to have a huge?
It goes from a 32 to a 28.
No deal.
No deal.
No dice. Wow. I understand that.
I mean, I know you're
Anytime
joking.
You dip under 30, but that's their feeling, and you're
that they're going to drive their yacht up, and someone's like, "Well, what's wrong with someone in a 44-footer?" will be like, "What's wrong with Goodell?"
Yeah, I mean, anybody that plays football, and they should, their pension should be really, really taken care of.
For the rest of your life.
They should have health care, and they should have golf membership, whatever. It should be taken care. If you're going to bash your head in,
I think all current players should. It's one of the taxes to play in the league. You should. And again, you want to call me a socialist? I don't fucking care. They should have to pay into a fund for old players, which then when
comes
they
back and pays them
later,
it's like its own version of Social Security within their field.
Can my dad can invest it for them?
Yes,
my uncle. They have a really good line on what's going up in price.
That's great. So there you go.
Yeah,
let's get your dad involved.
Tech bubble.
So start a
tech
fund bubble. Let's do that stuff.
You heard it.
One time I went to Matt Walsh had done the voiceover for the Chicago Bears '85 documentary or whatever.
He did?
Yeah, and he and I had that Bear Down podcast at the time.
Yes.
And he invited me to go to the Hall of Fame with him to
Oh my God.
attend
At
the
Canton.
premiere of at Canton.
Oh my
and we
God,
got
it's
this
the coolest.
tour of in the back, where they store the football. Where
Was the
I
guy
put
with
on the
the
white
mustache?
gloves
Oh, yeah,
and held
it's the
the
greatest.
football where
It's the
with the Walter
greatest.
Payton.
Oh, yeah,
and
it's
then
the best.
it's so funny. But we got to interview Jim McMahon there.
How was that? Sunglasses on the
So
entire
great.
time.
But he was also
Weird pair of Oakleys.
he was also like, can I just hang with you guys? Because he didn't want to talk to people kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he was hanging with us and telling us stories. It was the greatest thing ever.
best.
Cut to 3 hours later, he's still telling me stories 3
You're
days. And I called my assistant.
You're like, all right,
and
Jim.
I'm like, he offered me a ride back to the thing, back to the airport. So I'm like, I switched my flight because I was like,
I'm gonna ride
with Jim McMahon. He tells me stories. That
my
night,
God.
he's having drinks. He's telling
What
me
kind
more
of
stories.
story? Can you
The
remember
next-
any of them?
The
Okay.
next day, he's like, we're in the same hotel, and he's talking, so psyched, and he's really overexcited about all this stuff. And then I was like, I'm gonna switch my flight back. I need a little break.
Yeah.
From I need a McMahon.
A McMahon break. What's one story?
was so
one
great.
crazy story that he told you. Can you remember? He's like,
He's more I'd rather let him tell him, but he was just.
I let Sharon Stone shoot my balls with a BB gun.
You know what I mean? I don't feel
Was
like I'm
he
allowed to tell.
I mean, I can't.
All right, you don't have to tell.
Yeah.
But I do think it is. There was a time, that period, 85, 86.
Also,
those Bears
the
teams.
fact that I understand why you are such a huge Bears fan. You grew up in Chicago, and you were 15 years old when the Bears won.
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
15.
You were the most formative age.
You were the year that every kid when they're 15 years old, if you're a sports fan and a fan of your own team, you should enjoy a championship in that year. 10 to 15. If you can, Cardinals won the World Series when we were 10 years old in 1982. And then they went again when we were
85 when we were 13, and then they
went
went 87 when we were 15.
So for that period of 5 years, 82 to 87, we enjoyed so much success.
Yeah.
It's that's the cements your love of your team.
And I met them all. I would go to
you
whatever-
wrote the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yeah, I wrote the Super Bowl Shuffle. I was like, it was my idea to reshoot Peyton in a racquetball court and edit him in. No, but
Fensick was there. Why couldn't Peyton have gotten
yeah,
it?
but I was you would go to the sports shop and get autographs and
Yes,
meet them, and
sure,
they were
of
so
course.
local and great at the time. It was
oh
awesome.
my God. I mean, it's there's it's so
And Chicago. So Chicago has always. We say the second city. We say it's this city that has had its own certainly from a media perspective, or it's not New York and it's not LA. And there was this vibe for a lot of people for so long that they're like, I got to be successful in Chicago so I can then make it in New York. I got to be at Second City so I can get on Saturday Night Live. I got to go here so I can go to LA and have a da-da-da. Certainly that's the entertainment career. I think there was a moment in the mid-'80s when Chicago was the epicenter. It was this thing where, Cubs in 84, Bears in 85, Bulls
Jordan.
starting to come up with Jordan late 80s. There was this.
And SNL had just basically taken everyone from Chicago and made them stars. So
Right.
it's the Comedy Center, Improv Olympic was blowing up.
Yeah. And there was that moment where you were like, wait, this might not just be a means to an end. This city might be the end. This might be the moment. And I think the whole country saw that.
every John Hughes movie, which was the biggest thing ever, was
Took
shot
place
in Chicago.
Joey Garfield.
Joan Cusack won the Iron Man race.
I can't believe she
with the neck brace from 16 Candles.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's shall we? Shall we
Let's
take a break?
When we come back, we'll talk all things. We got to get into the whole bit. We got to get into
Yes,
the bit.
we're doing the bit.
Sam Spencer.
We gotta get into the
one of
bit.
great- all right,
Spencer
we'll
will
get
be
into the bit on the other side of this break and some quick hits. Scot Armstrong is with us. We'll tell you how you can follow and support and enjoy him on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. Guys, we're so happy about our sponsor, Game Time. They are the perfect sponsor for this podcast.
I
and
can't
for my
tell you
life.
how many people I've turned on to Game Time.
Me too. Well, I'll just talk about it. all the time. We're talking about you now, but I talk about it in regular conversation all the time.
Concerts. I'll just look at bands that I love, and I'll be like, when are you coming to town, and what do you do? Okay, I'll get tickets through Game Time.
Rose City Band was playing nearby me. I didn't have a ticket. I was going to go. My buddy, our cousin Steve, was going to transfer the tickets. It didn't work. I'm like, let me look on the Game Time app. Found it. Boom. Got it. Saw them.
Your teams are in the playoffs right now, and you're saying to yourself last minute, I don't know if I can go to a game, and then all of a sudden your night's free, and you're like, I can go to the baseball playoffs. Look on the Game Time app. You will find affordable tickets. You will find tickets that you can get last minute right for the game. Good tickets, good seats. They show you on the app what your view of the field is,
like,
so you know what you're going to be seeing when you get there.
You have an idea of what you're getting. It's so good. It's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Like Jay said, see and view your seat from before you buy it, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All in prices.
With zone details, you can pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings.
So good.
It's awesome. I love how these guys have set up this app. It's super easy to use. You'll find yourself participating in life more and going to live events more as soon as you get the Game Time.
They have deals on tickets, by the way, right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. We talk about this on the podcast with Scott. His dad used to do this all the time. If Game Time was around, Scott Armstrong's dad could have used this app.
Yes.
It's the place to find last-minute seats. I love these guys. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHEAPSEATS for $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CHEAPSEATS, CHEAPSEATS, for $20 off.
Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who came out in Fort Collins. We sold out. It's such a wonderful club. David Rodriguez does an amazing job. As a comic, he understands that it's perfect. The Comedy Fort. 125 seats, 125 seats. We sold out all 4 shows and added a 5th show. We did a Tag It with the local comedians, which was
so
a
fun.
blast. We had so much fun. Thank you to Brian, Gabe, and Kyle, who took us to play golf on Friday at their club. It was unbelievable. What a treat. They took care
Brian's
of us.
a Michigan grad who
Architecture and interior design professor at Colorado State University. His 2 boys are amazing, and we just had a wonderful time. So thank you to everyone who came out. That was a magical weekend that we needed there. You can see us again. We got plenty of shows coming up. Lots of stuff. Supersklars.com is what it is. If you're in LA, come see us do Tag It Live next Wednesday at the Comedy Store with great comedians: Ian Carmel, Jamie Lee, Greg Fitzsimmons, like so many good people. And then we're
Tag It again on November 6th at
Largo with Kumail Nanjiani, Aparna Nancherla,
Beth Stelling.
It's going to
A
be
ripped Camille, or is he?
He's ripped.
He's ripped.
Still ripped.
And we will make him perform with his shirt off. So if you want to see that,
or just sleeveless.
You've got to.
It's sleeveless comedy.
Fun fact: Camille was an intern at my company for a little bit.
Really?
And you know,
No way.
you don't expect certain people to turn out a certain way. Like there's certain people, like you're like, I'm surprised they like became like a huge actor, director. Like I did not expect that intern at the time to become a Marvel superhero star. That's a gigantic strongman.
Oh, I know. Well, I
like
mean,
he went from like just like Camille, like
yeah,
you know,
the
like,
way
that was a
the-
turn I did not see coming.
Yeah, the wave.
He's such a great guy.
Hey, what a
So
great guy
great.
and a
Super
great
talented.
comic. And he
Killer
just
comic.
went on that wave, and he's so talented. He is really a
That movie he wrote with about
Big
his
Sick.
Big, oh my
Unbelievable.
God, incredible.
Michael
movie.
Showalter, let's give credit where credit is due. Did a fantastic
Props.
job of directing the thing, and Romano was
Yeah.
so good in that movie. So that's happening on November 6th, and then we're going to be in Springfield, Missouri. We have not been in Springfield, Missouri. We're going to be close to the
I have
Yakov
family
Smirnoff.
there.
Yeah, tell them to come to our shows at the
Okay.
Blue
You
Room.
have to. Blue Room.
Blue
November
Room,
10th. They might be the only people there.
9th and
They're
10th.
all in their 90s, but
Great.
Bring them. 9th and 10th, we'll be there at the Blue Room that Friday, Saturday night. And then on the 12th, we're going to be in New York doing our 2-man show at the Slipper Room, which I'm very excited about as part of the New York Comedy Festival. Cleveland in December, Portland, Oregon, and Seattle at the beginning of January. All this is supersklars.com. Back in Denver at the Great Comedy Works South at the end of January, beginning of February. Detroit and Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, where we started doing comedy, first got
do
paid.
people fast forward this part?
No.
No. Okay.
Hopefully they hear it and they buy a ticket when they're in that
Yeah, I
area.
hope they do. And then beyond. Anyway.
I'm joking.
Super
Fucking
Thank
with
you. We deserve that. Supersklars.com. And then, by the way, and then Minneapolis and then Moon.
Stop. Okay.
Sorry. And then Alaska. Anyway, so Let's
what
get
about
into
the European tour?
We're doing
yes.
Europe 72. We're redoing all.
We're doing the Grateful Dead.
played.
Yes.
And we're going to be, even though Jay and I don't play instruments, we are going to be
We're
playing.
buying a Volkswagen
We're
bus
gonna-
in
yes.
London. We're
Playing-
driving through the channel.
Playing the channel. We are playing all of the Grateful Dead's hits
In the channel.
In the channel.
China Cat Sunflower, everything in there.
Channel Cat Sun.
Channel Cat Sunflower. So let's talk about your obsession with, or first of all, how can people follow and support you and what you're doing?
I don't really do much social media, but I do have a Twitter handle called Bear Down West, where I
Great.
talk about Chicago a little bit. Like
Okay.
once a month I tweet.
Hey, dude,
Come
check
on,
it out.
Bears.
Get
If
it.
you're a
Go
Bears fan, get
Bear
into
Down
it.
It's
West.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
You're
gonna
going to
be
love it.
fantastic.
I
It's
don't
going to
try
be
very
fire.
hard.
Fire.
Don't try hard.
I'm on Instagram, Scot Armstrong, but who cares?
SCOT.
One T.
Yeah, sure. One T. All right. So your obsession with not just, because we were all obsessed with NFL films, the slow motion.
I mean, I was obsessed to a point where like I watched that Dick Butkus NFL films thing literally 100 times.
Yeah.
Like I would,
Yeah.
And I beyond just the football, I love like the art of it. Like I was really into
writing?
writing and the voice.
John Facenda.
John Facenda, like the middle linebacker.
Yeah.
In no other sport
The
does
monster.
a position require such a unique blend of talents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and
Just
you're
like
like,
the
crazy.
monsters of the Midway.
Yeah, and like the music and stuff, and I started like really getting into
Who
did, like I started looking up like who did
composed
the
the
music.
music, yes.
Yeah, and I was like, and like I still like
You went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I
is what
did.
you
I was like that. There's if you guys out there don't know what we're talking about, like the song "Classic Battle" is the one that most people know. Do you want to play "Classic Battle"?
can we-
This is a Sam Spence composed
I think
Sam
Classic
Spence
Battles
is-
was first.
Classic Battles.
Aaron, if you got Classic Battles, let's play it through.
This is what you think of when you think of.
Well, this is who Sam Spence is. This is his biggest hit.
We're gonna hear Classic Battles. Hang on.
Oh, that's
Whirlwinds
to the end zone.
Oh God! Here we gotta download.
Download app.
You can go to the. We can get it there. You can go to the. Just do it on iTunes. Look up Sam Spence, and we'll be
Well,
there.
here, I'll play Golden Boy
Play-
again
play.
right here.
Play it into the microphone. Here we go. We'll just.
So we all know what that is.
Yeah.
And the other big hit that he wrote was this one.
Yep.
Oh my God!
See, it gives you
Come on.
chills. Your
I'm-
hair stands up.
hair
Let's play
stands
some
up.
Football.
Like snow flurries in Pittsburgh.
This is me in the snow and rain in my backyard. playing
linemen
the Nerf
backing
ball.
up in slow motion.
This is us at like Sunday school instead of being in class throwing a Nerf ball around the
Stiff arming my grandmother, jumping over the slide, around the above ground pool.
around the above ground.
Your dad scalping tickets to the
By the way,
next
the
game.
name of that song could have been around the above ground.
And I was
play
just
more. Keep playing.
And I was just thinking, like, how
can't
come those
believe-
two, like, there's so underrated Sam Spence music that I think they could still use.
And the fact that he wrote Gangnam Style is
But this is called Forearm Shiver. Like, if I ran like CBS, like this could also
Forearm Shiver was
Forearm
Dick
Shiver.
Butkus in every like.
Here we go.
It sounds funny. It's like
I know,
are we?
but it's good.
Is this an episode of Benny Hill?
No, it's like Police Squad.
Yeah. Are we gonna? Let's try and solve this crime. You and I are in the car. The siren's on. Let's go get it.
They're like, someone
like-
stole a purse and started running
Yeah,
through an
let's
alley.
go. Come on, and give him a what? Give him a forearm shiver and get that purse back.
So I was like, I feel like that could be
Yeah.
used more. That's underrated.
Yeah. Let's get into. Can you play a couple more? What do you
Yeah.
got?
Oh, there's merch on here.
Oh God.
Jeez.
You can plug
could
them.
be-
You
I
can
feel
plug
like
them
we could-
in.
Oh, you can plug it in here.
Oh, okay.
Plug it into this. Plug
Oh,
that
you know
in.
what? My phone's messed up.
Ah,
like
shit.
this input.
Here,
Same with
let
mine.
me see if
Jay,
I can.
put yours in. Jay, here you go. See, we're
Here's the other one that I think is underrated. It's
Who is it?
this is all the same composer.
Sam Spence.
Sam Spence.
I thought Sam Spence was the guy who. Sam Smith
Smith.
is the one who stole the song.
I like. Is it the game that got away?
Ooh, I like this. This feels like the flutes don't know where they're going. You know.
Yeah, they're like trying to find the entrance to the recording studio, and they're just warming up in the
Is it
hallway.
this door? No, you're down 3 studios over.
You want a Sanka? I'm going out to the hall to grab a coffee. All right, there's
Here's
Sanka.
Whirlwinds. This is one I think is genuinely good. Like, why is this not more known?
I mean, we get a little more snare in that.
You're listening to the NFL on CBS.
Yeah.
CBS.
So they should go back and get all of these things, and those should be all the bumper music in every
They should
NFL
do a more
broadcast.
variety. I feel like
I mean, this is like
Sam Spence. He owns stock in a timpani drum company.
He is all about
and was trying to
timpanis.
get people into it.
He's like, we got to add more timpanis.
Can we do sideline to sideline?
No, we haven't done it
All right,
yet.
I'm going to do sideline
Play
to
sideline to
Right.
sideline. Jay, go. This sounds like we're at a bachelor pad. There's a lot
This
of.
is later in his career. He started smoking more weed.
It's like a lot
He
of
started cruising like the wrong side of the streets
wall-to-wall
in
carpeting.
his like Cadillac with his window down.
This song could have been called wall-to-wall carpeting.
This could be called wall-to-wall carpeting, or
Sideline to sideline, wall to wall.
throw your keys in the bowl, or can I touch your wife? All those.
Yeah, he started to evolve his
or devolve.
devolve. This is Autumn's Race.
Okay,
This is like you're escaping from a World War II prison.
it's either that or like John Belushi gets an idea in Animal House.
John
right.
Belushi.
A New Dynasty? Have we done that one?
No, play
A New Dynasty. Here we go.
Is this Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
And Dick Butkus saved a painting from the museum.
The Thomas Crown Affair.
Dick Butkus slayed 4 velociraptors with a forearm shiver that no one saw coming. Because velociraptors don't understand one thing. That you cannot stop the monsters of the Midway.
A dinosaur could never stop a monster of the Midway. How about
And then he went undercover.
Is this the push?
He went undercover and he wrote this one.
Okay, this is all about... I mean...
He was wearing a wire.
It's not Shaft.
He had to do heroin just to fit in.
It's not Shaft.
And then he found out he liked it.
He
and
had to
couldn't
earn
stop.
trust.
I wouldn't call this Shaft. I would call this just the tip.
Sam Spence getting funky.
Getting funky on the...
Mike, like an old batch of collard
Collard
greens.
greens.
This is
Okay.
called the push.
All right,
I'm going to do last one, the
last
push.
one. Play the push.
All right.
Push it out. Again, this is we've got to get out. We've stolen the art. Let's get out of here.
Or I'm struggling with a shark right now.
Yeah.
I'm wrestling a shark.
I'm punching it in the face, giving it a forearm shiver.
I'm dehydrated behind a CVS.
behind a CVS.
yeah, not in a CVS.
Behind a CVS.
And Rite Aid did sue us on that one.
All right, there you go. That is
Sounds like I'm running away from a gorilla on a horse.
Thank you.
on horseback. You
I
run away
feel
from
like I feel like
Gorillas can
everyone people are
surprisingly
families are selling. Like Garfunkel Notes just sold their not Garfunkel Notes. Oh my God.
Kate
Simon and
McCucci,
Garfunkel
Kate
Simon and
McCucci
Garfunkel.
and Ricky Lindholm.
just sold their library rights. I
to
feel
who?
like
Who did they sell theirs to? Certainly not their kids.
Hall & Oates?
Hall & Oates.
No, it's not Hall & Oates. It's Simon and Garfunkel sold their
Catalog rights to Michael Jackson.
so like for like $200 million for a
my
giant
God.
corporation. But I feel like Sam Spence's family.
Can't give it away.
They can't give it away,
They
but they
can't give it.
deserve to get like a bunch of money for these hits.
I agree.
These are like great songs.
I'm with you, man. All right, let's
Amen.
do some quick hits. While we're speaking of hits, let's do some quick hits, and that'll be our first one for Christ's sake. All right. So just going through all that music. All right, things are getting personal between the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves and the Phillies are kind of like a new divisional, hated rivalry. I feel like I never really thought of them as teams that hated each other, but now you're like
East Division.
I don't know if you saw that game the other night where Bryce Harper got doubled off. I mean, that was
a great play.
to end the game. Like I watched,
And it was all done by the backup, the guy backing up the throw, because the throw wasn't great.
Right.
but
He backed to the throw, picked up on a
someone
hopping.
had who was sitting like field loge, like right down low.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Loge? Lodge? Loge.
Okay, no.
Loge.
I said Loge.
I've never been invited down there. I'm always.
Is it Robert? It's Robert Loge.
It's Robert
and Robert
Loggia.
Loggia. No. So someone was
Loge?
down on the field-ish and filmed the whole thing just from their phone. The sound of the crowd when he gets doubled off is like insane.
There's nothing more boring than regular season baseball, and nothing more exciting than playoff baseball.
Yeah, because it's colder.
It's crazy, and because it's so dramatic. Like it becomes like
every
so
pitch.
intense.
So when we were kids, the trash that flew around Shea Stadium with the planes shaking, the cameras leaving LaGuardia that was right there, but the trash that would blow around was like. I equate it to like Tony Soprano's breathing. It's like a whole other character. The trash was there, and like that was playoff baseball. It's dark, it's late, it's cold. People are just it's just fascinating.
There's old condoms on the ground.
I love it, and they're all from Darryl Strawberry. All right. Things getting personal. The divisional rivalries. Atlanta Braves mascot Blooper tried to troll Phillies fans. Don't do that on social media. The Philly faithful fought back and he tried to talk smack. So Blooper, who was introduced back in 2018, you can't be 5 years old and just start trolling people. Am I right?
San Diego chicken control, Philly fanatic control people.
In his defense, his name is Blooper.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
he just said, I screwed it up.
Mistakes.
It's a screw up.
David Blooper.
Just posted one more day. That's all he posted was one more day. Naturally, Philly fans saw that and just decided to go off on him. You know
That's when you know Philly fans are mean. They're like, "Fuck Blooper."
We're going.
And
at,
he's like,
"How dare
he didn't
you?"
even say anything wrong. It's like,
I hope
we're gonna
Blooper
kill
gets lupus. What?
Lupus. All right, so the Philly fanatic is going to get involved for sure. Like if he can ever figure out Facebook. This is where you know that like you got to stop hiring old people to be in the. You got to get a young person now who has social media chops to then be the mascot. They have to be able to do some sort of acrobatics on a trampoline. Like the old days, it was like, it's kind of like old wrestlers. Like, are you willing to put, I don't care how fat you are you willing to put a Speedo on? You are now Bulldog Bob Brown.
In college, I was roommates with our mascot at Bradley University.
No way.
He was
What was the mascot?
Tommy Hawk.
The Hawk. Okay.
And
So the
thing you wear
smelled
so bad.
Oh,
It
God.
reeks like because you could not really clean it, and he would try and clean it barely, and it was just like passed down from like
Just
to
sweat.
just like don't hug Tommy Hawk.
I can't even. I
Yeah.
can't even.
You need it.
He got in trouble for doing
Good
a beer
working-
bong with his costume on one time. Like he did for real in the parking lot. And his boss was just like, "What are you doing?
Hey, man.
What are you doing?"
Meanwhile, if that happened today,
Oh, my God.
and there was like a video of it,
Yeah.
it'd be the end of it.
Blooper done woke the bear, and he just has to watch
That's
out.
right. You
All
don't
right.
poke
Now
the
the
bear.
Dolphins have been scoring a lot, but this is ridiculous. IG model claims that Dolphins cornerback Xavier Howard is a quote Minuteman and alleges that he has 4 women pregnant at the same time. Okay, this is insane. Xavier Howard should be worried about the future of wide receiver matchups and making the Dolphins the best. The Dolphins are unbelievable this year.
They
by
are
the
pretty
way.
unbelievable.
They're unbelievable. Well, they score 70 points in one game.
They did 70
70 points, 4 pregnancies. They score like
They score
every which way.
left and
One woman
right.
allegedly claims that at least 2 other women she knows are pregnant with the 30-year-old's babies at the same time.
This is
They
the
can
pension.
all be
This is the
friends.
pension I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Football
Howard was-
players need to have this like pension.
Howard was in a long-term relationship with his girlfriend Keely Long. It's not known when Howard and Long first met, but the relationship was likely to start around 2015 because that's when their first daughter Ava was born. The pair have 2 other kids, a girl named Sklar and a 4-year-old boy named Xavier Jr. We only hope that he follows in his dad's
Are we
footsteps.
sure it's not Blooper? Did Blooper
It
make
could be
another
a blooper. Howard, it's not. This is to me. I think this is going to change people's opinion about him and what can the NFL do? Anything like there's nothing they can do about this guy. It's
You
like-
want to get the NFL involved?
Yeah, they're not gonna
We
get
need to
involved.
sort this out. Who's
has-
fucking who?
he
What
has-
is happening?
So apparently, he has a fetish.
Free
about-
agency? Does this fall under free agency?
He has a fetish.
Collective bargaining?
about getting women pregnant. That's his fetish. That's that's such a short-term fetish.
Short-term fetish with very long-term
ramifications,
Yeah.
right? You better have a fetish for being the greatest father in the world too, if you're going to do that too. And then
He likes Father's Day gifts.
Can we talk
from
about
multiple households?
Can we talk about
so many ties. He's got so many ties.
so many ties? Can we talk-
Families ties? That
Families
becomes
Ties. That's the new
that's
reality show about his life. The Antonio Cromartie Chronicles. The Antonio Chronicles. Mario Cristobal, can we just talk about the last thing about what
You saw that Miami. So college, Mario Cristobal.
who's the coach of Miami? He went from Oregon to Miami, and
This is a guy who doesn't believe in kneeling at the end of the game, not because of a Colin Kaepernick thing, but like
maybe he's so anti-Kaepernick,
taking the victory formation and just kneeling. So all he's been doing all year long
is handing it off.
Is handing it off, okay? Which is fine when you're up by like. And Miami was in the top 25.
Why doesn't he kneel? It's because he's against like any kind of kneeling.
No,
or he just didn't do
we
it?
made that up.
Okay, I was going to say because it was really weird that he handed the ball off when he just kneeled.
And Georgia Tech gets
and guy fumbles.
30 seconds left. Georgia Tech has no more timeouts, and you are.
The ball game's over.
Ball game's over.
Neil. He hands it off. Guy fumbles. Georgia Tech pass for 25 yards and then 45-yard pass in the end zone. They win. They beat Miami. It is the single dumbest sport. Like, remember the Steve Pizarchik? Like, he went back to like kneel, but he tripped and fell and fumbled. And like, they were doing the right thing. That was just a malfunction, a mistake, a human error.
This was coach error, and
there's no reason why anybody should be handling the ball. It is like, imagine if you were up by 1 point in a
curling match,
college basketball game.
College curling
or
match.
NBA game. You're up by 1 point. You have the ball with like 11 seconds left, and
you decide to
shoot like a
You're
deep
doing
three.
an analogy, but we already have the football analogy.
Imagine if you were playing football.
Imagine if you were playing professional football.
Imagine if you get 4 women pregnant, and before the last one, you have the chance.
I mean, it is like, how is he not fired?
Isn't it weird how momentum works, though? If you think about it, like the psychology, like that defense gets on the field. And you know you're going to give up a bomb.
I know.
Like, you know, and you're
it's
playing.
Almost crazier that they gave up two plays.
Two plays.
So connecting on one play is like all chance. It all comes together.
Come on, get it together, guys. We just guard these guys one more play. I know we fumbled and it's stupid, but we don't have to give up a bomb right now. But you're going to, and you know you are.
It's almost like in a baseball series that goes to 7 games. If the 6th game goes to extra innings,
you're going to lose.
And you lose in an extra inning game, the next night you're done.
Yeah, and it's like, why can't you just get over that and play a good game?
So I was watching the Beckham documentary on Netflix, and it's fascinating and really interesting. And
it's fascinating how loose their uniforms were,
and just big, like it was just like so huge and long sleeve, like the
no underwear,
no underwear,
so weird.
Everything's loose,
cowboy.
And just digging around. So no, he. So I didn't realize like he screwed up in the World Cup in 1996. I believe it was.
1994 was the World Cup.
90. It
would have been 8.
He screwed up in 1998 in that England was. It was England-Argentina. I didn't realize there was such like a rivalry between England and Argentina.
Falkland Islands. Hand of God. When Maradona hit the ball in with his hand, that beat England. That goal beat England, and he scored like 2 other goals.
Colonies are often mad about the colonial.
I mean, they took the Falklands from him in '82. Then in '86, like that was the whole thing. So in '98. He gets tripped by someone from, and I forget the player's name, and he just kicks as he's laying face down, and it is a hard foul going down, and he's face down on the ground. He lifts his left leg up, and the guy on Argentina like flops like he was just shot in the face. I mean, it was like an unbelievable thing. And Beckham gets a red card.
No way.
They're tied 1-1.
You can't do that as a ref.
They're tied 1-1. Gets a red card and sent off. And England has to play with 10 players for the rest of the game. Then it goes to overtime. Then it goes to penalty kicks. To your point, they could have still won the game. But then at the end, everyone blamed Beckham for being sent off. It's like, no, you tied the game. You got it to the point where it's like it has nothing to do with advantage.
But in this case,
how it's momentum just
momentum.
Really affects things. It's so weird.
And perception.
But with Miami, I think you can blame Cristobal.
You can. I cannot believe he's still coaching there. I just don't understand. His buyout must be huge. He's like, I can do whatever I want.
It is.
All right, there you go. That is it. We have a Patreon that is so fun. It's a video, the weirdest thing that came across our feed this week in the world of sports. Scott's going to break us down with us. We're going to take a look at it. But thank you, Scot Armstrong, for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here, guys.
So fun, right?
Oh my God,
Good
so
time.
fun. Sam Spence.
What is
It's a treat. This is Touchdown Jubilee.
It is. We're doing the Touchdown Jubilee. with Scot Armstrong. We'll be back with a message on the other side of this break. And then for Patreon fans, join our Patreon because these videos are fantastic. You get more at the Patreon than you do on our social media. We give you just a little taste. And we do new episodes of Cheap Seats. We got the new one that just dropped. How crazy was that?
It's like Japanese wall sitting.
Japanese wall sitting. It's
Tetris,
crazy.
Jenga. It's all.
Oh wait, that a Dolphins player just got another woman pregnant.
Oh really?
Right
So
now.
5. We're at 5. We're up to 5.
And
Okay.
counting.
I'm in a Dolphins
Another
player.
blooper, guys. Another blooper,
Guys,
baby.
I'm in a Dolphins fathering fantasy league, so I've got him. So I'm just racking
He's
up
my
points.
flex option. All right, guys, we'll be right back with a message right after this. Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. Scot Armstrong. I love him. Just
Wonderful.
enjoy that dude
person.
like nobody else. What a sweet, sweet guy, and truly one of the best writers in the business. Just cracks his. I mean, there are so many moments I was just laughing and needed that laughter.
Needed it
today.
hard. Yep.
Sports is a distraction. Sports is the thing that can sometimes pull us and just take us away from what's going on. But it's just we normally at this point in time we get a voicemail from
Someone in our
a
sphere
friend
in
in
the
our
universe.
sphere in the universe, and we wanted to wait till the end to do this, but we can't sit by and not at least make a statement of just how we're feeling about the whole situation that's going on in Israel right now. And it's just, I don't know what to say, except we just have to say something.
We have been searching for the words and, been pretty consumed by this all week.
Canceled a show that we had.
Just unspeakable tragedy and barbaric behavior that has led to some very, very intense loss, and something that, there's no, it's a very simple thing to say that what Hamas did to Israel is unspeakable, unthinkable. And I know it's a complicated world over there, and we have complicated feelings towards the Israeli government.
We absolutely do,
and have had for years. So it's not even about that. We're talking about this moment and what happened to not just people who, innocent civilians and people who didn't call for this, some of whom protested the Israeli government's occupation of the Gaza and all that stuff.
Wanted a two-state solution.
Right. So there were victims in these senseless massacres who probably felt similar animosity towards
as many of the Palestinians felt
right
too.
So it's senseless. We also happen to know people from our camp growing up whose child was abducted, taken. Still, they don't know where he is. He's a hostage. So it's personal for us. And, it's really hard as parents of kids who, we've sent off into the world. I mean, Randy's daughter has friends from Camp Ramah who have been had to re-enlist, and, Israelis who are now back on army duty. And there's no good solution. It's going to get worse, and there will be more bloodshed, and it's terrible. It's a horrible, horrible scenario, and a line has been breached in a very, very, what was already a very tenuous situation that I'm not sure we can ever come back from. But this has been weighing heavily on us, and we're grateful to sports for giving us a brief respite from it. But the rest of our minds and our energies have been directed towards that. And so it's hard for us to, sit by and not say how sickened we are by all of this and sad we are about the scenario and disappointed in people stepping up and trying to make it about something else right now, when right now it's pretty clear what the scenario is. And it's pretty easy to denounce rape and murder and stuff like that in this moment on civilians.
And not gloss over it. And denounce it and not gloss over it, and that's what we're doing. And we hope that
our opinions don't turn you off if you disagree with us. I don't think we're disagreeing in the way that you think. So let me just be clear about that. We understand the complicated issue of a lot of things over there. But
and if you ever want to have a discussion with us about how we feel about that situation,
happy to have that discussion. Happy to talk it through.
Thing.
But I think we're focusing on what happened this weekend, and we're holding all of our friends and family and people who are connected to Israel right now in our hearts. And we're doing everything we can to try and just give them love and be there and be supportive and hope for the best for the people who are still at large.
And take a moment to say that we appreciate everybody who's hung around this podcast with us, to listen to it, to be a part of it, that it gets you through. We met a bunch of them this past weekend in Fort Collins, and we know that sort of these moments and of us really taking stock in the things that we have and that we love, and that we just want to thank you and tell you how much we appreciate you guys. So with that, it's a somber way to end this. It's a somber time, and it's how we're feeling, and we'll be back at it next week. So you'll have another show next. I don't know who we're going to have next week. Maybe we're going to talk.
Johnson.
Yeah, fantastic. More NFL talk about the Washington Commanders and whatnot. And then after that, Gar Ryness, the batting stance guy, will talk about the World Series. All right, we love you guys. Punch Waterfall, and we are out.